Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Doop Movie Podcast. My name is Brian.
My name is Keith.
And we are here to review movies for your listening pleasure.
Today we're going to be talking about Uncut Gems.
The Adam Sandler Oscar-nominated Adam Sandler Netflix movie that came out last Christmas.
Actually, he actually was not nominated for an Oscar for this movie. Yeah, no, he wasn't. He did win the Independent Spirit Award.
That's maybe what I'm thinking of.
You know, it's like it's the same thing, but it's for independent movies. They get recognized throughout that year. The Lighthouse was, also nominated that same year for different categories. But
okay,
he didn't get an Oscar nomination, and he had publicly said that he is going to make the worst movie ever because of it. Because of the fact that he got snubbed.
Oh, you mean worse than this one? Spoiler alert for my eventual opinion.
Worse than Jack and Jill.
Oh, Christ. Wait, worse than Click?
Wait. Where are you going? What are you talking about? All right.
Yeah, I'm going to be known for this as the guy with the bad movie takes. I swear to God, I am.
That's so crazy to me.
Like, I like the Star Wars prequels and the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I didn't like this movie or Click. I don't like Talladega Nights either.
Well, I don't either, but I mean that's just based on quality. I mean, but Uncut Gems was directed by the Safdie brothers, and it was written by them with one of their good friends, Ronald Braunstein. That is a co-collaborator with them with some of their other features. The cinematographer was Darius Kanonji. I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I did. You know what I did in just going forward, lovelies. I have lost my notes for this. My tablet died about an hour ago. So I'm kind of going from memory, but I do remember making a note that I enjoyed the lighting of the scenes and the cinematography was well done. It was a little
jarring
in some places, but it was meant to be. Like,
yeah, it's intentional.
But before we're going to go through the plot first before we get into real detail. But it was what I gathered. The cinematography and the way it was presented was very much into the hectic pinball from crisis to crisis way that the main character lives his life.
Yeah,
and it really kind of fit that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I didn't care for this movie, but that is not to say that it's not good.
Yeah.
So that's just tease of eventual opinion deployed. backtrack.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, and I saw it on Christmas Day, whenever it had its wide release, but it premiered at the Telluride Festival in like August 20th of that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then it finally got like a limited release on the 13th, and then finally Christmas Day, boom, wide release. And
okay.
I saw it the same day as Star Wars 9, The Rise of Skywalker, just to give myself sort of like a palate cleanser, like a fun movie after this like very dour, depressing, anxiety-ridden film. It's like it's very chaotic.
Oh, very anxiety-ridden is the perfect way to describe this movie.
Yeah.
It was, for me especially, it was very difficult to watch. It made me physically nauseous to watch this film. Mm-hmm. I did like the opening and closing music. It was very 80s inspired.
Yes.
And I love like 80s movies and 80s music. Yeah, I'll be honest, the opening of the movie, and this is another note that I had made, very much reminded me of an old 80s sci-fi thriller called Inner Space.
Okay.
It's the one where these people get shrunk down and have to like journey through a submarine through another person's body.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it pans out, and then you actually are watching a colonoscopy, and it's like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, like at the beginning of the movie, it takes place in the fall of 2010. It's gonna be at an Ethiopian diamond mine.
Oh no, it's an opal mine.
Yeah, opal mine.
Red opals, yeah.
Yeah, red opals. And then somebody found like a black opal, and so like they were looking through it. So they were looking through the opal and like just seeing all the colors and everything else. This is the opening of the movie, and then it transitions into the colonoscopy.
Yeah,
which is a great introduction for the character because
it's a good
name, on the screen too. Like it's very subtle.
Oh yeah, it's a good transition too, because going from looking at the fiery gems and they make a point of saying this in the movie, but people say you can see the whole universe in an opal if you look at it, because they have reflective properties, and especially black opals.
Yes.
And that comes into play much later in the film. So Do you have any more like behind the scenes stuff you want to talk about before we get into the plot synopsis, or?
Well, yeah, for the history of the movie itself, it was actually originally written back in 2009. And the Safdie brothers got the script to Sandler's manager, but Sandler didn't even get to read the script. The manager was just like, oh, whatever, these kids, they don't know what they're doing. They're like, what, barely even 20-year-olds, like pushing forward this independent script to towards Sandler's manager. And at some point down the line, after they made a different movie called Good Time, which I have good opinions on, and I can probably get into at a different time frame.
I'll have to add it to my list.
I recommend that for sure. It's on Netflix as well.
Okay.
But they eventually got the funding for this movie through Alara Pictures, and Scorsese was, going to produce it initially. So they were thinking about getting Jonah Hill as the main character instead, like just, age down Howard Ratner, which I think would have been a disservice for the movie in general, especially like the mistress and everything else.
Yeah,
like
he needed to be 40s, maybe even early 50s age.
Which is why Adam Sandler was perfect for this.
And so he surprised the hell out of me by being really good in this role.
Yeah.
Because he's known to be like the wacky comedy guy. Mm-hmm. Who makes movies so his friends can go on vacation.
Yeah.
Hot tub time machine. Oh, excuse me. I did notice a conspicuous lack of Happy Madison Productions logos.
Yep.
So it was odd. I don't know if Sandler was given a producer credit.
I don't think he was. No, he wasn't a producer on this one. He was just a star.
Yeah. But this was not a Happy Madison joint. This was not an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
This was a movie starring Adam Sandler. And there's a distinction there.
Absolutely.
And his performance puts a definitive line on that distinction.
Yes.
I didn't remember that he'd been snubbed at the Oscars because I'm a bad take factory.
Yeah.
But he deserved an Oscar nomination for this role.
Absolutely.
He played the hell out of this character.
Yeah.
Including near the end of the movie, he has kind of a mental breakdown, but we'll get into that
as well
when we get there.
But in 2018, Sandler saw the film that I was just mentioning earlier, Good Time, and he was like, "Hey, who are these people? Oh, you said that they gave me a script like way a long time ago. Let me get the script. Let me read it. Oh, I want to be a part of this movie now." So Sandler contacted them and was like, "I want to be in this movie now. Is that okay? Can we do this now?"
Yeah, and with Adam Sandler behind it,
and I was like, "Yeah, definitely."
Let's open some doors here.
Absolutely, yeah. Just the whole cinematography aspect of it was just impressive. Like they used a lot of long lenses. They shot from like a couple blocks back to make it seem like very voyeuristic. Mm-hmm. Like that you're watching people just in their lives. Like they're and this is another good thing about this movie too, or something more legitimate about it is like they have a lot of people who aren't actors. Like some of the people who are collectors in real life. They are just thrown into the script,
And most notable of that is Kevin Garnett.
Yes, it's awesome.
Power forward for the Boston Celtics, and I am not a sports guy, so I do not remember the years he played for the Celtics. Yeah. But he acquitted himself extremely well as an actor. I could see him moving on and doing other films very easily.
Definitely. I mean, and like the Safdie brothers took very special attention to the career of the time frame. Like that's why it's set in 2012, because these are the games, the Celtic games, like during that the spring time frame.
So those were accurate like scores and stuff?
Yeah. Well, the scores they're a little bit exaggerated, but they were pretty close to where it was. You know? But like the time frame of the games were pretty much on the nose.
Because the movie's set in 2013, right?
12.
2012. Yeah. Okay.
And of course another background note. There's along with Kevin Garnett, we've got The Weeknd, who was just coming up into fruition. Like he didn't even release a studio album at this rate. Yeah. And then now, 7 years later, he's like almost a legend. Yeah. Modern day legend. But like, Trinidad James was in the film. It was like a pop-up scene. Natasha Lyonne from Orange is the New Black and Russian Doll. She voiced over like one of the Celtic staffs. And Tilda Swinton was an auction manager. Another vocal performance. And it's just like great cameos from behind the scenes.
Anne, I believe her name was.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
also in a role that you never see her play, or Howard Ratner is the character. I'm going to alternate saying Sandler and Ratner because
I will probably do that too.
But the Howard Ratner is the name of the character played by Adam Sandler. His wife was played by Idina Menzel.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she was so tired of him.
she was, and rather than being the heroine or the naive woman or she's a Disney princess basically.
Yeah.
That's she got to play the completely done with your shit, strong, independent, fuck you, I don't need you woman.
Yeah.
Like there's that scene where he's talking about trying to get back together with her at the Passover feast, and she just laughs in his face.
Yeah.
And it's very obvious that she's not trying to be hurtful, but she just genuinely finds what he's doing hilarious. Like, there's no way. This is dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
and especially with the fact that he has a mistress, played by Julia Fox, who has one of the best peaches I have seen in recent years. Peach is the term I would like to use for the booty.
Okay, I can get behind that peach.
Yes, yes. That
she has a very nice entire fruit basket.
Yes,
there is nothing wrong with that woman.
She and like this is like kind of her first role.
Yeah,
so
this is her film debut.
So it's not like she's seasoned or anything, but I can definitely see her going further in the acting career. But she's going to be in a Steven Soderbergh movie later on this year. I forget the name of it now.
Well, no, we've talked a lot about how she looks, but she actually is she plays the part really well too.
Yes, definitely, for sure.
Especially the scene with The Weeknd and the party, and we'll get into that. But
you want to go ahead and summarize the movie?
So okay, starting the plot synopsis. It's like Keith mentioned. It starts out at a diamond mine in 2011.
Opal mine.
An opal. You're right. A red opal mine.
Yeah.
In 2011, where this dude gets dragged out because it's like some medical emergency has happened,
right.
And these
some rocks fall or something.
Yeah.
Along those lines.
And these two other guys sneak in to the mine, and they surreptitiously chip out a black opal the size of my fist.
Yeah.
Like, and I wear size 18 shoes, so
yeah, he's a big man.
Yeah, it's quite large. Yeah. Opal, and then it zooms into the opal, and that transitions into Howard's colonoscopy, and then immediately coming out of the doctor's office, you notice that Howard is a fast talking guy. He's there's always words coming out of his mouth. Yeah. They don't often mean anything, but it's always da 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 da. He's talking over people. He's talking around people. Mm-hmm. He knows everybody because he's obviously been in his like niche in life for years. He's saying hey to everybody in the street by name. Yeah. And he turns out he runs a memorabilia and jewelry store. Mm-hmm. So he gets back to the shop, and Kevin Garnett, the basketball player, has been kind of roped in by his, a casino would call it a fisherman, someone who brings the whales into the casino.
Okay, right? Yeah, he's talking about Damani, his coworker, the one who gets the people who are going to drop money basically onto the shop.
The high end collectors or famous people who have money to blow on stuff on cosmetic jewelry like this.
But played by Lakeith Stanfield, who does great as well. Continue.
Yeah, he's really good. He's an asshole.
Oh yeah, the character. Yeah,
the character is not the actor. Yeah. I don't know any aside from Sandler himself and a little bit of the support like Idina Menzel. I don't know any of the actors. And so, if I say he's an asshole, just assume I'm talking about the character.
Let's not go into the actual people because we don't really know them.
Yeah, and I'll be and from what I do know people who know Adam Sandler,
right?
And I've never heard a bad word about the guy personally. Yeah. Like he treats his friends well, he treats his business well. Yeah. As far as I know, he brings a lot of business to that area of the country. He's but I don't. This is like fourth hand information.
Right.
Right. Like I occasionally talk to people at conventions who are friends with Movie Bob, who is friends with people in Adam Sandler's inner circle. Like, this is... Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a telephone game in real time, pretty much. So at the shop,
Kevin Garnett comes in. He finally comes in, and Howie is showing him all these, like, these got a diamond encrusted Furby, and like beautiful watches, and this is when what's the guy's name?
Which one?
The fisherman.
The guy who's Damani.
Damani, thank you. Could not remember his name. Tries to sell Kevin a fake Rolex, and Howie shuts that shit down immediately. Yeah. Right. And this is something that Damani gets pissed about. Look, I've got these watches. I need to move them. This is part of why I work for you. Yeah. So, I can move these watches. And Sandler's like, yeah, but I don't want that shit in the store. There's no papers,
Right. They can call each other out for that on the street. What I'm saying?
Yeah. So they got to be real careful about that. And so Garnett is not finding really anything that he likes. He does leave his earrings to get cleaned, right? And so that's when we get introduced to the long-suffering jeweler who works for Howard. I don't know his name. I don't think it ever mentions his name. Or maybe it does, but it's only in passing.
Think so. Yeah, I don't remember it either.
But you never see him without, like, the jeweler's headset, like magnifying glasses. So we get introduced to him, and there's a lot of characters that get introduced that don't show up again, but kind of feel like they're supposed to. This movie does a lot of subverting of Chekhov's gun. Right.
Okay.
You know what Chekhov's gun is?
Well, familiarize the audience.
Chekhov's gun is a trope in storytelling where if you introduce something in an early part of the story, then that something comes into play later. So if a character named Chekhov, shows people his new pistol in the first act of your play, then in the third act somebody's going to get shot with it. Yeah. Right. Because why introduce something that has no relevance to the story? It would kill the pacing of your movie, right? Or play, or novel, or whatever. Yeah. There's
foreshadowing, basically.
Yeah, there are a lot of characters in this movie who seem to be Chekhov's guns that don't pay off in any way. But the movie doesn't feel badly paced at all, right? Because the whole movie is frantic. Yeah. It's a very high energy, high anxiety, pinballing back and forth from crisis to crisis, the way Howard Ratner lives his life. Yeah. Right? You're not meant to be comfortable watching this movie. So anyway, Garnett's about to leave, and Howard's like, okay, I got one more thing to show you. Check this out. And he talks about the black Jews who do that opal mine in Ethiopia,
which it finally came in on this day too.
It got delivered after 17 months of haggling with people to get a hold of this thing. Yeah. It gets delivered while Kevin Garnett is there, right? And he takes him in the back room, and he pulls out this opal, which is huge. Like, it's the size of an Xbox controller, huge.
It's like it was stuck inside of a gut of a fish, of all things.
Where it was smuggled. It was obviously smuggled. Right. And when we say in gut of a fish, we're talking like a big salmon. Yes. I'm trying to think of something that we could compare it to, just in general, that's going to be relatable. It's about 8 inches long and about 4 inches wide. Yeah. Like, this is not a small stone. Yeah. And Garnett is immediately smitten with it. Right? He's like, oh, I gotta have it. I gotta have this stone. This is amazing. Because he looks through a microscope at it, or the jeweler's lens at it. And
like, he gets his vision too, and like, he was leaning on the glass this whole time, and Howard's telling him, like, don't lean on the glass, don't lean on the glass, you know what I'm saying? And then he finally like breaks through because he's like so entranced into this stone. And I was like, that's a sign. I've got to have this.
Yeah. So he's like, Howard, doing the right thing, says, it's already spoken for at auction. You are welcome to come bid on it at the auction. I can't let you have it. I can't sell it to you here. I was just showing it to you because I like you. Yeah. Right. And he's like, well, let me borrow it for a night. Yeah. Because I really think this stone's got some power in it, and I think it's going to make me play better. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know, man. This stone is supposed to be worth like $1 million or more, because it's what is it, $500 a carat and 3,000 carats?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
And it's huge, and it's super valuable, and that comes into play later too. Yes. But he's like, no, I just want to borrow it. I'll bring it back tomorrow. I'll bring it back at 9 a.m.
And Damani, of course, was backing him. I was like, yeah, I'm going to see him tomorrow. I'll see you first thing in the morning with you. Because I'm going to go into the game too.
So Howard's like, okay, well, I'm going to need some collateral then. right? And he's like, "How about your ring?"
Yeah.
The Celtics championship ring.
Yeah, 2008 championship ring, and that's really where the plot gets.
Yeah. So he's like, Damani's like, "No, hell no, you can't have that ring." And then Garnett's like, "No, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. You can hold this ring as collateral. I'll get it back tomorrow when when you get your stone back. That's fair."
That's right.
Right. Which good on him
as
a character. You know, that's you're asking to borrow $1 million worth of rock from a dude. You're gonna leave him something.
Yeah.
You know, just as a show of good faith.
Yeah.
Right. That struck me as good.
Yeah.
And so he takes the stone. Howard takes the ring, and then Howard immediately goes to a pawn shop, and in the first, what I'm gonna call, Howard fucks up moments, he pawns the ring for what, 21 grand?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then immediately walks across the street to a bookie.
Yes.
To place a bet on the Celtics to cover the spread and beat the envelope or whatever I forget what all the terms
basically, are. He made a bet with this bookie earlier in the movie. He had 19 riding on the game, and it was the exact opposite of what he's doing now because of the fact that Kevin Garnett is holding on to the rock. He's like, "Oh, that's my ticket right there." So I'm going to take this 21 with the 19. I'm going to put the 40, and I'm going to make sure that they lead. I'm going to say,
see, and Howard knows that whether the rock is magic or not, half of that is belief, and if Kevin believes it is, he's going to be phenomenal tonight.
Yeah,
right. That's what Howard is betting on.
Yeah.
So he pawns this ring that he doesn't own, to increase his bet and get way more specific, which gives him way long shot odds, but that pay off more. Right.
While this is going on, Arno, this loan shark, who he owes 100 grand to, who is also his brother-in-law,
which we don't find out until much later. That surprised the hell out of me.
I know.
When Arno shows up at Passover, I'm like, oh shit!
Yeah.
He didn't marry your sister. Like, oh god.
Yeah, played by Eric Bogosian from Law and Order fame.
Oh, okay. But so he's being hassled by Arno's two goons, who I don't know if they're ever named.
I want to say that they did at some point, but I forget them now.
In my notes, I called them Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Yeah, that's what they are.
And Thing 1 is the blonde, and he's like the leader of the goons, and he's constantly getting physical with Howard.
Yeah.
He's slapping him across the face, or at one point he stiff fingers him in the throat.
He assaulted him in his office, pulling up his shirt, he got into a tiffy with one of the people who was working with Ratner, and then he was just like, "I've been working for 8 years, and this is how they treat me. What's going on with all this?"
And then this guy quits. This is another of those Chekhov's gun things.
Yeah.
This guy is introduced. He has a thing where, okay, fuck you, I quit.
Yeah.
And then that pays off later in the smallest possible way that it doesn't actually pay off. It just shows him working in another jewelry store.
Yep.
And Howard doesn't even look up at him as he walks by.
Yeah.
Which I guess in and of itself is a testament to how hectic Howard's life is, that he barely noticed this guy that he's known for 8 years has walked out of his life.
Yeah.
Right? But, so anyway, these goons have been harassing Howard, and he's like, "No, I've got your money, I got your money." He actually texts a picture of the money he got from the pawn shop to Arno and says, "I've got your money, it's coming," and then goes straight to the bookie and gives it to the bookie. And then it steps away from the jewelry store, and it cuts to Howard's two family lives. He's got two family lives. His mistress. Which scene comes first, the family or the mistress?
The family first, because he has to take care of the family and get the kid to bed before he sees his mistress.
No, that's the second time he sees his mistress.
Yeah, the first time was early in the morning, 10:30.
Yeah, you ever planning on coming to work today?
Yeah, exactly. So
come cuddle, Howie. Come cuddle.
I was like, "Oh, I know you're upset. Come to me." You know what I'm saying?
Which I thought was like, she's a gold digger. She's just with him for his money.
Oh, of course.
But turns out that was probably the truest relationship in the movie.
I know. That's the craziest part of it all.
This movie is really good at subverting things. But anyway, so Howard has two families. He has a mistress who he lives in an apartment with part-time, and who we find out later that his wife knows about.
Yeah.
And he has a wife and children the wife played by Idina Menzel. And they're getting divorced, but they're not going to tell the kids till after the holiday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. After Passover, and then like they're getting this argument. And I was like, oh, next you're gonna say that you're gonna wait until after the summer, and so on and so forth. Like you're gonna push this off.
You're gonna keep. You're gonna keep putting it back. And Howard doesn't deny it. He's like, well, I'd be fine waiting until after the summer.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like he doesn't want his wife to leave him, but he also doesn't want to leave his girlfriend.
Right.
See, Howard is pathologically incapable of doing anything the easy way. He has to do it in the way that is hardest on him and the people around him.
Yeah. He has to have his cake and eat it too.
And he has to, not only that, but he has to, knock over a little kid and rob an old lady to get the cake.
That's it.
He can't just go buy a cake. So this is where we find out that he has a daughter and two sons, and one son is the younger of the two sons is as done with his bullshit as his wife is.
Yeah.
Because he's watching the Celtics game while he's tucking them into bed.
Yes.
Right. The older of the two sons is watching the game with him because he is just like his dad, and he's got bets running at school.
Yeah. Talking
about it, and his dad is like, "I'm proud of you." He's affirming this behavior that's not good behavior.
Yeah.
And we don't see the daughter at this point. We don't see the daughter until after the later. But then he goes to the apartment because he doesn't want to stay the night in with his wife, and he and Julia, his mistress, have a really kind of cute, sexy, romantic scene where it shows that she's not just a gold digger. She really does care about him a lot. Like, he's hiding in the closet, and I think this was the whole point of this thing. He gets to the apartment early. Yeah. Like, he catches good traffic and he gets there early, and he calls her and he's like, "Hey, where are you?" And she's like, "Hey, I'm not there yet. I'm coming up the elevator." He's like, "Oh, well, I'm just now leaving. I'm just about to hit the tunnel.
Yeah.
Traffic was awful." And meanwhile, he hides in the closet, right? And he has brought food from this specific restaurant. And I forget what the name of the restaurant is. I had it written down in my notes, but
yeah, me too.
He has a takeout bag, a blue takeout bag from this very specific restaurant that is like their favorite restaurant, I guess. And anyway, she comes in to the apartment, and she's on the phone with one of her girlfriends, and she's like, "No, I can't. This is really important to Howard. His gem came in today. He's super excited about it. We're gonna celebrate. I gotta do this for him." And she also has a bag of food from this restaurant that she's gonna surprise him with from the same restaurant, right? And it's like this really wholesome moment, like, oh, she really does care about him. It's not, and so and she strips down to her lingerie because he's like, I'll be there soon. Send me a picture, and she sends him like sexy pictures, and then he pops out of the closet, and then they have this moment, and then it's a really cute romantic scene. That shows that this is probably the healthiest relationship in his life.
Yeah.
Right? And it's with his mistress. Yeah. Right? And this is the only scene that I can think of where Howard doesn't fuck anything up. Right?
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, he won. The Celtics beat the spread, and Garnett got all the rebounds that he needed to get, and Howard won.
He got big.
Yeah, he put down $40,000, and he's going to win back like 180.
Yeah. Right.
That's or 170 something.
It's something
enough to get the ring out of Hawk, enough to get the payoff Arno. Everything's golden.
Yeah. Right.
So then the scene fades out, fades in the next day, and the goons are following Howard around, right? Like in a car, keeping tabs on him. Do they have an interaction before? Yeah, they do, because they beat him up and take like $20,000 from him. That he was like taken to the bank from his shop, right? Yeah. They cost him on the street and like steal all his money and his watch, which is a fake watch from Damani. Yeah. And they're like, you've got until Friday. Or no, you've got till Monday. Yeah. To pay it off, or we're gonna start breaking shit. And then it's like later that night, he goes to the school play with his wife, right? And so he's is this another game he's bet on, or is he just? Oh no, he's watching Garnett No, I'm skipping a part. I'm skipping the part where he gets the stone back.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. I'm skipping around because, like I said, I lost my notes for this one. That morning, he goes to get his stone back, and Damani doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you're going to take me to where the Celtics are practicing, and we're going to get my stone back right the hell now.
Yep, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And Damani's like, I can't do that. I'm not driving 2.5 hours back to Philadelphia. We are driving to Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. We're doing it right now. You work for me. Mm-hmm. Right? And this is you know, this is when Howard gets some bass in his voice. Right? Yeah. So they do. They go to Philadelphia, and then Howard, being the man-child that he is, walks into where the Celtics are practicing, picks up a basketball, and starts shooting around with it and like laughing and joking with people. And Damani slips in past the gate guard because he's friends with Garnett, and leaves Howard out there. The gate guard won't let Howard in, and then he turns his phone off. Yeah. Right? Because it's very obvious that he turns his phone off because when Howard calls him the first time, it rings and then stops. And the second time, it doesn't even ring. It just goes to voicemail. Yep. Right? So Howard can't get past the gate guard, and he has to take a bus back to New York, where the movie is set. I don't know if we've mentioned that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's assumed.
And so Howard goes back and doesn't have the stone, so he's freaking out. Yeah. Right, about this stone, and this is when he gets accosted, and he loses his money, and then it's the next scene is the school play, right? So he's at the school play, and he notices that the two goons are like a few rows behind him, thing one and thing two. And so he's like, hey, I got to use the bathroom, to his wife, and he gets up and he's like, hey guys, what the fuck are you doing here? Yeah. Right? And they're like, you really want to do this now? He goes, can I talk to you outside? Right? And so they go outside, and they have some words. This is my fucking family. Yeah. And at this point, Howard cold clogs thing one. Yeah. Right? Slaps him across the face and shoves him into the lockers because they're at the school. Yeah. And then he takes off running. Right? He bolts through the backstage, across the school, and is running away. Thing one and thing two, they catch up to him in their car, right? And drag him off the street and put him in the back of a car and drive away. Yeah. Right? And at this point, you still don't know that Arno is his brother-in-law. Yeah, I know. Right? Which, so they drive for a while, and everybody's screaming at each other. And he's like, you did all this money, and what did you do with that? We know for a fact you pawned something and took my money and bet with it. You know, what did you think we were stupid? Of course I canceled the bet. Yeah. The one that Howard thought he had won. Yeah, exactly. Like, you thought he won this whole time. He was going to take care of everything. He was like, oh no, that's it. It's done. And like, it would have solved everything. Yeah, you know. but the bet got canceled, which, from Arno's point of view, he can do is reasonable. Yeah. You know, this guy owes me money. He texted me and said he had the money, and then he went and made a bet with it. Yeah. I'm going to call the bookie and be like, hey, this is the situation. Give me that money. The bet's off. Yeah. You know, that's reasonable for Arno. Yeah. Right? So they strip Howard naked in the back of this car, in the back of this SUV, and they hit him they give him a little bit of a beating. Like, they hit him with a billy club, and they knock his glasses off, and they don't break his nose yet, but they come close. Yeah. And then they drive back around to this, like, what looks like a half-empty parking lot. Right, which I thought at the time was out in the middle of nowhere, and they lock him in the trunk of a car, right, and leave him there. And I'm thinking, oh shit, okay, are they leaving him to die? What the hell? And then he whips out the phone, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to call Damani, he's going to call somebody to come find him. No, he calls his wife. He's like, hey, I've locked my keys in the trunk. Can you come open the trunk of our car? And I was like, oh, shit, he locked him in his own car? What the fuck? Right? And that was like the first clue that Arno is closer to the family than he lets on, or than the movie lets on. So the wife comes and opens the trunk, and he pops out buck naked. And I think this is the moment where, because like, in the family scene earlier, when Howard was like, you know, we can wait till after the summer. We don't have to tell the kids right away. She's almost receptive to it. Yeah. Right? She maybe has like a glimmer of, well, maybe he can be the man I thought he could be. Right? But as soon as he pops naked out of that trunk and is like, I can explain,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's done.
Yeah, completely over his bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? She just walks away laughing to herself. Like, I can't believe I ever thought this fucker was good.
Yeah.
Like,
you ever thought people would change?
So he comes back in and he watches the show. He's wearing a tracksuit now because they stole his clothes.
Yep.
They did leave him his glasses though, which was nice of them. I guess.
Yeah.
And they obviously left him his phone.
Yes.
Right.
Which was also, I mean, he needed that to survive. And they needed him to get some way to pay
this
them
wasn't
back.
about punishing. This was about sending a message.
Yes.
You know, look, this is what's going to happen. Are you having fun now, you son of a bitch?
Yeah.
They say that in the show.
Yeah.
Or in the car, right? So the bet's been canceled, and he still doesn't have the stone, and the money's gone. The ring is going to be gone because he didn't have the money to get the ring back out of Hawk.
Yeah.
So everything has fallen to shit.
Yeah.
Right. And I can't remember what happens the next morning. Oh no, that night is the party scene. So he goes back into the city after arguing with his wife again, and he has like a party with The Weeknd because his girlfriend is trying to moonlight as a promoter, right? As like a talent promoter, and The Weeknd is doing this like big rave party thing, and he's kind of a diva about it. Right, there's a very specific scene where he's like, I ain't gonna perform till that black light is turned on. They told me there was gonna be a black light, and then the black light cuts on and the whole crowd cheers, and that's when Howard notices Julia is up on the stage, but like in the background, wearing the skimpiest outfit I've ever seen that was not a bathing suit. It was like 2 wash rags tied around her chest and booty shorts, or no, it was tight. It was tight pants. It was long sequin pants, but there was nothing left to the imagination. Right, and so he's kind of looking at her and he's grinning to himself, and then he notices that she's looking at The Weeknd.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he goes off to get to find Damani, who's at the party, and talk to Damani about his stone. And Damani's like, I ain't got it, man. Garnett's got it. He'll bring it back tomorrow. Right. He'll bring it by the shop tomorrow. Yeah. So he goes back and he goes, where's Julia? And some random party goer is like, look, I'm not trying to get in your business, but I just saw her go in the bathroom with The Weeknd. Right? So he goes up to the bathroom, and then it cuts to Julia in the bathroom fending off The Weeknd's advances. Yeah. Right? And then he's like, come on, baby, you know, I want you to touch it. Come touch it. And she does. It's like, oh, how are you so hard right now? Like, and they're doing cocaine. Yeah. Right? They're doing drugs. That's ostensibly why they're in the bathroom, is to do drugs. Right. So Howard starts not banging on the door. Julia, what the hell? What the fuck? And she comes out, followed by The Weeknd, who is tucking his shirt back in. Right? And he's like, she's like, I was just doing blow, Howie. Don't worry about it. And Howard's like, you smell like his cologne. And they have this huge fight that lasts out the building and down the street.
Why don't you go fuck The Weeknd?
Yeah, screaming at each other. And she's like, fuck you, Howard, but I love you so much. Like she obviously cares about him, but she fucked up. And so he's like, we're done. This is fucking done. I'm leaving. I want you out of the apartment. I'm not, you go fuck The Weeknd. I'm not doing this shit. Which, once again, Howard has to do things in the worst possible way. So he's going to break up with his mistress, the only good relationship he has, for doing the thing that he's doing to his wife with her. Right. Howard is not a good person. Nope. I mean, if it's not clear by now. Yeah, he's somewhat likable, but he's not a good person. Yeah. He is a scumbag. Yeah. He's super depressed. The next morning, because he tells Julia, sends him a picture of an apartment on like Zillow, like that she's gonna get. She's like, when we live together, we can have this, you know. And he's like, what are you playing, fucking mind games? What the hell? I want you out of the apartment. We're done. So then he goes to the shop. Garnett comes in and gives him the stone back. Oh, where's my ring? As he's leaving, he turns around. Oh, where's the ring? Where's the ring? And Howard, thinking fast, goes, oh, shit, I left it in Long Island. I took it home to show it to my son. I'll bring it up to you tomorrow. I'll send Damani out to Philly with it tomorrow. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
Like he had this story already planned.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And Garnett's like, whatever, man, whatever. At this point, Garnett can't really talk, right? Because he kept the stone an extra day.
Yeah.
So like this is still fair, but they leave, and it's at this. Is it at this point, or was it the first interaction where Kevin Garnett's bodyguards kind of beat up the mooks?
Oh, it was the first one.
Yeah, where
time.
Thing 1 and Thing 2 had an interaction with Garnett's bodyguards, and that's why they were so mad.
Yeah,
the first time,
like they were thinking that Howard sent them, after them, and I was like, no, that's not me.
I don't know these guys.
And I was like, well, you're fucking dead anyway. And I was like, no, seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know what fucking game you're playing.
So he's got the stone back, and he takes it to the auction house. Finally, he gets it to the auction house late.
Yeah.
Because she's like, if it's not here by 5, I'm pulling it from the auction. And he gets it there at like 7:30.
Yeah.
Right? And so they only, and this is on a Friday, and the auction's on a Monday. Right? And so Anne, who played by Tilda Swinton, at the auction house, does probably the most underhanded thing in the movie. By taking this $1 million stone and having her personal jeweler look at it and give it an official valuation of $200,000 at max.
Which is that's
bullshit.
That's a
that's not even a low ball. That's full on no condom, no lube ass fucking. That's that's bad. I'm getting real bad for the kids on this one. I'm sorry. This movie got to me.
Look, okay, let's be clear here. This is not for kids.
Yeah, this movie is not for kids. If we ever review a kids movie, we'll try to keep it PG.
We will, at least try to keep it PG.
But so far, both movies we've done, the word fuck is used like a comma instead of a word.
As it was, meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck is the most versatile word in the English language.
That's true.
It can be used as every word in a sentence.
Every single word.
Fuck the fucking fuckers.
That's true.
He gets to the auction where he's prepared for his big payoff, right? And this is the second time that he's like, okay, well, all this money's coming in. I can pay off all my debts. Oh, no. I'm skipping Passover. So he gets the stone there, and then he goes to the Passover celebration. That is Friday night, right? It's Chavez dinner. And Arno is at Passover.
Yeah.
And this is when we find out that, not only do we find out that Arno is his brother-in-law, married to his sister, right? The guy that he owes all this money to.
Yeah.
But his uncle is there, and he's kind of bragging to his uncle about the stone, talking about how much it's worth, talking about how he had it appraised, right? Which is true.
Yeah.
Right? He had it appraised. It is worth that much. And actually, I looked this up. A black opal that size would be worth over $1 million.
Yeah.
Easily. So, and Arno is sitting in the room just listening to him talk about this, right? And you can see Arno's face where he's like, okay, this is how he's going to get my money, right? Because if he doesn't get my money, we're going to have a real problem.
Yeah.
But he's not going to say that in front of the family.
Right.
Right? Although there is a minor thing where they're doing the Passover tradition where they like recite parts of the Torah and the 10 plagues and stuff. And I'm not super familiar with Jewish holiday traditions, but I did read that it's a pretty bad snub when the host of the party skips you in part of the tradition.
Yeah. And
he tries to skip Howard.
Yeah.
Right? But Howard's son pipes up and says, "Hey, you skipped Dad."
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can do the plagues. Like, it's a little thing, and I think it would mean more to an audience member who was Jewish and understood what was happening. But even to me, who is very much non-Jewish, that was very much a overt snub, an overt FU in front of everybody. Yeah. Right? So after he brags about the gem, he goes to talk to his wife, right? And he's... At this point, he's trying to salvage the only romantic relationship he has left. So he's like, look, I'm done with her. I don't need her. It never meant anything. I can't stop thinking about you. I want to try to work things out. Right? And this is when she just laughs in his face. She doesn't take him seriously. There's not a glimmer of, well, maybe. There's no hope there. She just laughs in his face and says, I forget exactly what she says, but it's something along the lines of, the only thing I hate more than you is the fact that I'm still with you. Yeah. Right? And that's cold. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I mean, she's just thinking about the naked man that he, she came upon.
Exactly.
In the backseat of the car, and I was like, it's ridiculous,
So anyway, he goes to the auction the next day, right? And he sees the correction in the pamphlet. And if you look under when he moves the correction, it's valued at like $800 to $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a yellow correction paper where it's valued at $175,000 to $200,000. Yeah. So he's like, "What? No, this is a mistake." And the lady at the front desk is like, "No, it's just a correction. No, I'm the owner of this item. I know this is a mistake. Right. Put me on the phone with Ann." And so he gets on the phone with Tilda Swinton, and he's like, "What the hell?" And she gives him some runaround about, well, we only had a couple of days, and you got it to me late, and you're lucky I didn't pull it. And I can pull it now, or we can leave it as is, but we're not changing it, right? And so he hangs up with her, and he turns to the receptionist and is like, "So Ann said we're going to change it, that we're going to go with my valuation instead. So I'll start on this box down here of brochures. You can do the rest of them." Yeah. And she's like, "Okay, sure." And she starts doing it, and she calls Ann for another reason, right? And at that point, Howard just walks away and says, "Fuck it, we'll leave him." Because he was trying to bullshit his way through it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Trying to get more money out of it. Yeah. Which is, I mean, look, you gotta do what you can.
At this point, he's on the finger for a lot of money. Yeah. Like over $150,000. Yeah. Right? And so this is when his uncle shows up to he brought his son, who is Howard's cousin, to meet Kevin Garnett, who's going to be at the auction. And the whole point was to support Howard in his big day and to bring his son to meet Kevin Garnett, who's like his big sports hero. Mm-hmm. And Howard's like, "I need you to bid on the stone. I need you to push the bids up." And he's like, "I can't do that. Why? Why would I do that? That's wrong." And he goes, "But I need you to. They've really effed me over with the valuation. Garnett wants it. He's going to bid high. I need you to push it up to $250. Yeah. Right?" And he's like, "What if if I win, now I'm out $250,000 and I got a rock I don't want." And he's like, "Well, yeah, but that money goes to me, so I'll just wire it right back to you. If Garnett stops bidding for some reason, you'll get your money back. Right? That's not a problem. And I'll cut you in for 20% of whatever Garnett pays for it. We'll go in as partners." Yeah. Right? And so the uncle agrees, which is not smart of him, because as has been previously mentioned, Howard is a scumbag. I'm sorry. What was I saying?
Howard Ratner,
they're Kevin Garnett auction. Yeah, they're at the auction. Yeah, he's just talked his uncle into doing the auction. Mm-hmm. So they go in, and it gets to the stone, to the opal, and the uncle starts reluctantly bidding against Kevin Garnett. And the bidding gets a little high, gets up there, starting at $50,000, then $75,000, and then it gets up to $100,000, and then it gets up to $150,000. Things are starting to look a little up. Like at this point, $150,000 would cover his outstanding debts. Yeah. But it would leave him, whatever he paid for the stone would be a loss. Pretty much. Right? Because all it would do was cover his outstanding debts. And Garnett pushes it up, and the uncle pushes it up, and it gets to $190,000. Right? And that's when Garnett bows out. He's like, "I want it, but his advisor, his financial advisor, is sitting there with him, and she's like, 'You can't go any higher.' He's like, relax. No, you don't have the money. You can't go any higher." Yeah. So he bows out, and the uncle wins it for $190,000, which apparently he just has. Yeah. Because the next scene is them leaving the auction with the uncle pissed, holding the stone in a box. And at this point, he's like, "Well, I'm going to wire it straight back to you. They're going to put it in my account. It's going to take about a week, and the 20% will come out of my pocket and go right back on top. I'm sorry. I'm going to sell the stone straight to Garnett, because he wanted it. Yeah. Right? You're going to be fine." And the uncle's like, you better give me my money. Right? Yeah. So Garnett, he starts walking back to the shop, and he runs into thing 1 and thing 2 again. Right? Yeah. And at this point, this is another Chekhov's gun character that doesn't pay off, is this 2-bit hustler who's been trying to talk to Howard all movie, and Howard just keeps brushing off and ignoring. Somebody he probably also owes money to, right? And Howard had earlier in the film handed him a Rolex and said, that watch is worth twice what I owe you, so just keep it and we'll call it square. And now he walks up to Howard and he's like, I can't do anything with this fake Rolex. What am I going to do with this? And Howard is like, I don't even know you. And anyway, so he runs into Thing 1 and Thing 2, and they're mad, right? They're pissed. Howard, they start harassing him again, and Howard slaps Thing 1 across the face. And at that point is when Thing 1 just loses his shit and just knife fingers Howard in the throat.
Yeah.
And this is the scene where it's cemented. Like, the whole movie, for me, I'm thinking to myself, that Adam Sandler is doing pretty good. The scene where he gets knifed in the throat, basically, with straight fingers, he's realistically like, he makes it look like he's just choking on himself.
Yeah.
He plays that part. This is the part where it started to cement as a great actor, as a great performance for me. Yeah. And he's like, I've got the money. It's coming to the shop. Garnett's on his way to the shop right now. Come to the shop. Bring Arno. I'll give you your money right there as soon as Garnett pays me. Right? So, all right, fine. So he goes to the shop. And at this point, after getting knifed in the face or in the throat, they beat his ass. Like, they break his nose and they make him lose his glasses.
Yeah, beat him bloody. Like,
yeah, he's got both of his nose is all to the side, but both nostrils are bleeding. His face is all cut up. He's got massive bruises. He got beat the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right? By Thing 1 and Thing 2. And so he gets to the shop, and Julia's there. Because she still works there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And she comes back, and she's like, Howard, what happened? And he's sobbing in his chair. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Nothing I ever do goes right. I'm bad for you. You need to stay away from me. Howard, I love you. Yeah. Right? And she turns around and she shows him that she got a tattoo of his name on her ass.
Yeah.
Right? Which, you know what? You're not wrong. That is a very nice peach.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
At this point, she's like, Howard, I don't care that you fucked up. I don't care if you're in debt. I just want to be with you. Right? And she starts cleaning his wounds and, baby, I love you. And at this point, this is the moment where I'm thinking he's at his lowest moment. He's having a full-on breakdown.
Yeah. Right?
And he's playing the hell out of this part. Right? I believe it now.
Yeah.
He's having a full-on breakdown, and she's not walking away. She's not getting pissed. She's not being selfish. She's nurturing and loving, and she's there for him. She obviously loves the hell out of this guy.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this will be like, maybe he's going to turn his shit around. Maybe this is going to be the anchor that pulls him out of the scumbag behavior. The
lesser movie would have done that.
Yeah. Maybe the greater movie would have done that.
Continue.
Anyway, Garnett comes in and hands him they had agreed on $175,000 for the Opal. And Garnett hands him $160,000. And he's like, I already gave Damani his share, because Damani said you stiff him sometimes. Right? And so even Howard's like, you know what, that's fair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I can still do what I need to do with 160.
Yeah, it'll pay off my debts and I'll be fine.
And
he sees, he looks through his camera at the vestibule, which this is the two instances of Chekhov's gun that did pay off. At one point, there's because he runs such a high-end shop, right? It has two doors, and you can't open them both at the same time. And there's like this bulletproof glass vestibule between the two doors, where there's no getting out of it. And at one point, when Kevin Garnett is leaving, the door breaks, and it's like a magnetic seal, and Howard fixes it by jamming a file into the top of the door. Yeah. Right? And that happens earlier in the movie. That happens when Garnett comes to get his ring back and drops the Opal off. Yeah. That's a Chekhov's gun they set up and then will pay off now. Right. He talks to Howard, and Howard talks to Garnett, and Garnett explains why he wants the stone. He asks, how much did you pay for it, man? And he's like, I can't tell you that. And then he gives this great speech where he's like, because he's like, Garnett's, his thing is, you bought $1 million stone and you're willing to take $175,000 for it. You must have really ripped off the people you bought it from. Yeah. Right. And Howard goes, Well, yeah, but like, I paid $100,000 for this stone, and and that's where he got the money from Arno. Right. That just clicked for me.
Yeah.
And he's like, but $100,000 is more than they'll make in 50 lifetimes.
Yeah.
Right. You got to think about it like that. And then he takes it into sports. He goes, are the people that you dunk on, the people that you outscore, is it better for it to be a close game, or somehow more moral for you not to completely shut them out, or should it be close and should they have a chance at it?
Right.
You know, that's how you do. That's how you do your thing. This is how I do my thing.
Yeah.
Right? And at this point, Howard talks himself into big fuck up number 3.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Where he's like, you know what? This stone gives you powers, and we know that you're gonna do your damn best, and you're gonna show everyone up. And he pulls up the Vegas odds on the Celtics game, all right, or the Atlantic City odds on the Celtics game, and he's like, you are fated to lose this game. The odds makers say that you're too old, that you can't hack it anymore, right? And he's like, but you know better than that, and now you've got the opal.
Yeah,
you know better than that, right? You can do better. And at this point, he calls Julia and says, I need you to go to the shop next door and lean out the window. And I'm like, I don't understand, but okay.
Yeah.
Because at this point, Thing 1 and Thing 2 are in the shop, right? And they're waiting for him, along with Arno. And Thing 3, who was like Arno's, I guess, right-hand dude or whatever.
Yeah, probably.
I don't remember his name. Cooey, I think was his name. He was the only one that was named.
Maybe.
Or maybe that was the uncle's name. But anyway, it's not important because it's not important to the story.
Right.
So Garnett stands there and watches him while he leans out the window and hands the bag that Kevin Garnett gave him with $160,000 in it, hands the entire bag to Julia, who's leaning out the other window, right? Yeah. And says, take this to the Sunrise in Atlantic City. My friend will get you there. Call this number, put it all on. He gives her a very specific bet. Like very specific, super long odds. Garnett to get 16 rebounds and 26 points, and so forth and so on. And
it's like acting like little multipliers to the amount of money that you put on to it.
Yeah, so he's putting $160,000 on it, and he stands to win like $15 million.
Yeah. Off
this huge ass long shot of a bet.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, Howie, okay, and she goes. No questions asked. She just goes, right? And she's not stupid. She knows that this is money that he needs for other purposes, but she trusts him, she loves him, so she takes the fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? So Garnett leaves, and that's when Arno and Thing 1 and Thing 2 are like, okay, so where's the money? I saw Garnett was here, where's the money? He's like, I don't have the money. I had part of your money, but I did a thing now that is guaranteed, and I'm going to have double your money when it's done. I'll give you double your money when this is all done. What did you do, Howard? Right? He's like, I put it on the game. I put it on the Celtics game. And he turns on the pregame for the Celtics.
Which, like, they're trapped in the,
they haven't left yet. They haven't tried to leave yet.
Yeah.
And so Arno and his goons aren't stupid, right? They saw Julia leave in a hurry.
Yeah.
Right? So they're like, find the girl. Catch the girl. She's got my money. So they go to leave. And as they're slamming out, they're banging on the door because you can't open one door while the other one's open, right? It's a security thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, you gotta wait, I'll buzz you out, but you gotta wait till the door closes. And they're banging on the glass, and the file falls out, right? The one that he'd fixed the door with earlier. Yeah, and that's the Chekhov's gun that's paying off now. The door shuts, and now they're locked in this vestibule waiting for Howard to buzz them out. And he's like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna buzz you out. You're going to have to sit here. Everything's going to be fine. You're going to wait. You're going to watch the game with me. And you're going to see that once it pays off, we're all going to be fucking rich.
Yeah.
Okay? Everything's going to be fine. Arno is pissed, but not insanely pissed. Like,
as much as Thing 1 is.
Thing 1 is pissed enough that he pulls a gun from inside the vestibule. And Howard laughs at him and goes, it's bulletproof glass. You're going to wind up shooting Arno.
Yeah.
Right? And so he puts the gun away. He goes, you're fucking dead. You're fucking dead. As soon as I get out of here, you're fucking dead. And he's like, by the time you get out of there, you're going to be richer than you've ever been. You'll be fine, right? So then it cuts to a couple hours later, right? She has got to the casino riding on a helicopter with some dude has never been seen before, but shows up for the last 5 minutes. And this is one of my big complaints about the film is this guy. Who is he? Why does he have to exist?
Right. It's just a connection that Howard has.
It is, but I think the film would have been served better if that was like the uncle. Yeah. Right? Somebody we'd already been introduced to and not just some random sleazebag.
I can see that.
You know, but anyway, it's just some dude who flies her to Atlantic City in his helicopter, and she makes this gigantic bet, and then she sits in like a private booth to watch. And Arno and the goons are stuck in the vestibule. Howard's got the game on at the shop. Right, he's turned his phone off. Everything is riding on this game. And then there's a montage of Julia watching the game and trying to duck around from Arno's goons in Atlantic City, right? And Howard watching the game and just monologuing to himself about, oh, he's going to score, he's going to make the points, we're all going to be rich, it's fine. When Garnett misses a free throw, he's like, oh, no, it's fine, that was just a safety. We're already going to cover the spread. And Garnett makes enough rebounds and scores enough points that they've covered the whole spread. Yeah. The whole bet is covered, and he's won as long as the Celtics win the game, right? And it's very tense. Like, the movie has been anxiety driven this whole time, and now it's super. Everything is focusing. It's tense. Are the Celtics going to win? What's going to happen? You know, does Howard get out of this? Does he get the money? Is everyone going to walk away happy from this? And the Celtics win. Yeah. Right. And Howard's throwing his hands up in the air and he's screaming and yelling. And even Arno was like, son of a bitch, he did it. Yeah. Right. Oh my God. Son of a bitch. We're going to be rich. Right. And he, so again, you know, millions of dollars won on this bet. Right. To the point where when she calls and Julia calls him and is like, did we just win? We did, baby, we did. When you collect the money, make sure they walk you to the car. Yes. You know?
Yes. And then there's another moment later with her character specifically I want to touch on.
Okay. When I think I know what you're talking about, but remind me when we get there. Yeah. So he unlocks the inside door of the vestibule and is like handing out champagne. It's like, and Arno takes, you know, gives him a hug, right? And it's like, oh, I can't believe you pulled this shit off. And that's when you see Thing One pull a gun and pop Howard right in the face.
I know, he wasn't lying. The minute he got out of there, he's gonna get killed. Like,
Thing One pulls that little pistol out, the other Chekhov's gun, and shoots Howard right in the face, and Howard immediately falls dead. Yeah. Boom, done. And at this point, the cinematography, which has been a little frantic, stops.
It's finally calm.
Yeah. And Arnold's like
a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Arnold's like, what the fuck did you do? You know, we were going to get paid. He's like, I'm tired of his bullshit. And if you keep pushing me, I'll be tired of your bullshit too. You just cost us $1 million. Pop. Arnold gets shot in the head too. Yeah. Right? And so the final montage, the final scene of the movie is a montage where Julia is getting walked to the car with millions of dollars in winnings, right? And this isn't a bookie. This is like legal in Atlantic City winnings. Yeah. Millions of dollars of on-the-books winnings. And Howard is bleeding out on the floor of his shop while the goons, now with Thing One in charge, are taking all the jewels. Yep. They're like, oh, well, we've already shot the fuckers. Let's steal all the valuables and get the hell out. Get all the electronics, That's it. Yeah. And then it zooms in on Howard's face and on the bullet wound, which is like right under his eye. Yeah. Right? And there's blood running out of his face that looks like a tear. And that was like the most poignant thing. It was like he's like, I had it. I had it. You know, you don't hear him say it, but like that's the look on his face. And it zooms into that bullet hole, and then it transitions back to looking through the opal, and then it cuts to credits.
Yeah. Which, like, is a great bookend throughout the whole movie. Like, it starts out with the transition, and then it goes back into the transition again. Yeah. I thought, for a fact, somebody was going to get Julia at the very end there. Like,
honest to God, after the breakdown in the shop, and, you know, I thought he was going to pull it off and he was going to get away with it.
Yeah.
I was hoping that he and Julia would get their happy ending and he would like maybe sell the shop to his brother or something, and like he and Julia would go off somewhere and just retire on all this money and everything would be fine. And you know, you could look back on this 10 years later and go, God, that was stupid of me. I'm so glad it paid off. Mm-hmm. But nope, Howard is dead.
Yep.
Howard is shot in the face.
Howard's dead, and his brother-in-law is dead, and that's the thing too. Like he, you know, Arno, he's does everything, you know, right for his character. Like he doesn't misstep. You know, I mean, he acts according to his own morals, and like he's just caught up in the whirlwind of everything because his brother-in-law is a fuck up. Yeah. Pretty much, like with money, and then it finally goes over well. It's like, what do you mean we're millionaires? And then he gets shot. Like, that's so fucked up.
Yeah. Thing one is like, no, fuck you. I'm not gonna trust some woman I don't know to. This is, I'm assuming his thought process.
Which I'm sure, yeah.
You know, no, I'm gonna take what I see in front of me. You've gone soft on this guy.
Yeah.
So you're dead too.
Yeah.
You know. Arno has gone soft on this guy. And so, thing one shoots him. And then they start robbing the store. And then it fades to black. And the ending left me physically nauseous. The whole movie left me physically nauseous. It made me feel like I was having an anxiety attack. Like, I will say right now, I thought the movie was well made, except for a couple little things I'll get into in a minute. And one big thing. And I thought the performances were all across the board phenomenal.
Yeah.
The movie is very uncomfortable to watch. Yeah. And I already suffer from anxiety. So it was very difficult for me to watch. And now I've seen it 2.5 times. Right? Because my tablet died, I watched it again last night to make sure I was refreshed on it and could kind of do this podcast. And it was just as hard to watch and left me just as nauseous the second time as it did the first time I'd seen it all the way through.
Yeah.
Right? The first time I tried to watch it with my mom, like back in January, and we couldn't follow it at all. But before I get into why, so overall, I thought it was a good film. It is not one I will go back to.
Yeah.
Right?
I can see that.
It's not a bad movie. It's not poorly made ish. It's technically very well done. The cinematography was good. The lighting was excellent.
Yeah, the sound design was great too. You know,
we'll get to that in a minute.
For the most part, like the beginning and ending songs.
Like the score was good.
Yeah,
the score was good. The incidental music was good. The performances, like I said, were phenomenal across the board. This is all my opinions now.
Of course.
You know,
this whole thing is opinions.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It deserved awards recognition, and it really cemented Sandler in his second phase of his career where he's doing the more dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Which is fine. You know, Robin Williams did it when he did like What Dreams May Come. This was Adam Sandler's What Dreams May Come.
Yeah.
Right? Very much so, in my opinion. And it was good. I will never watch this movie again. Part of that is the fact that I already suffer from anxiety, and this movie is almost designed to induce anxiety.
Yeah. Right?
And it does, very much so. It is very difficult to watch if you have anxiety.
Yeah.
It's difficult to watch even if you don't, I assume.
Yeah.
But, and at the ending there, you finally get, like you were talking about it being a breath of fresh air. When Howard is dead and everything is calmed down.
Yeah, like you don't see him fuck up anymore, basically.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, that wasn't the breath of fresh air for me. The breath of fresh air was when they win the game and he's happy and Arno is happy and the girl is happy and they're like, okay, well, he might actually get his this son of a bitch might have actually pulled off his happy ending.
Yeah.
I am so proud of this asshole, right? And then he gets shot in the face and it takes away your breath of fresh air. You know, that's
the difference between us, my brother.
I'm finding it difficult to talk about. Right? The only technical thing about this film that I didn't like at all, and this really heightened the bad for me, was the sound design. The score was good. Mm-hmm. I like the 80s synth score, especially in the beginning and ending. It's very Inner Space or kind of Stranger Things-esque.
Yeah.
Right? The sound design in and of itself, I thought was pretty poor.
Okay.
In the movie, it's almost constantly everyone is talking over everybody else, right?
Yeah.
And there's everybody shouting over everybody else, and it's like you can't focus on one person's dialogue because there's 15 other people talking in the room, and so instead of focusing on the guy who's talking, now you have to focus on the one guy who's shouting in the crowd of people who's talking.
Well, and like I can understand why you wouldn't enjoy that as much. I think that's intentional.
Because definitely it was intentional.
Because like it's natural conversation. People talk like that all the time, regardless, and it really kind of magnifies the claustrophobia of the movie itself. Like,
yeah, which I get. I agree that it was not a mistake. I guess the sound design being poor was a bad choice of words. The sound design was uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
Right? And it made the movie very hard to follow.
Yes. Yeah.
When I tried to watch it in January with my mom, we watched it at her house, played through the TV speakers, and it was we turned it off before he ever went to Philly to get his Opal back.
Yeah. Because
we couldn't follow what was going on. We couldn't figure out who was who. We couldn't follow the story. We didn't know what was happening. It was terrible. So both times that I watched it for the podcast, I watched it with these really nice headphones. Noise canceling headphones, so I could focus on the movie and no distractions. And even then I still found it very hard to follow. The sound design really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it was intentional. It was supposed to. It heightens the anxiety of the film. I fully understand and appreciate that as art from a distance.
Right.
For me, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
This was not fun for me. I mean, in the sense that I get to talk about it with you, this is fun.
Yeah.
But if you offered me $1,000 to watch this movie again, I would have to seriously consider saying no.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What about $2,000?
I mean, what is it? What's the old joke? If you ask a guy, would you have sex with another dude for $10,000? And hell no. Would you have sex with another dude for $1 million? Hell no. Mm-hmm. But if you open up a briefcase with $2,500 in it, he's going to be in the hot tub with his hand down Siegfried's pants and his tongue down Roy's throat before you finish the latches.
I haven't heard this joke actually.
Yeah, well, it's more of a saying,
or
a funny anecdote.
Yeah.
It's people have their price, and when when talking about it, your price is way higher than when money is waved in front of your face.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you offered me $2 and a biscuit, I'd probably force my way through this movie again.
Yeah, $2 and a biscuit.
Yeah, if you had them in your hand.
Yeah.
But sitting here talking about it, I can confidently say $1,000, I would not watch this movie again.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
So what are now that we've gotten my bad out of the way, what are you like this movie a lot more than I do?
Yes, I really enjoyed it. I saw it Christmas Day.
Right.
Obviously I have to ring in the holiday somehow. And I got this really great gift from my boss at work. It's like a movie logbook. I can write down my little reviews of it, write down memorable scenes, so on and so forth. Like I only use this movie, this book, for movies I see in theaters. And this is the first movie that I've seen in theaters at the end of 2019, which, of course, before the beginning of 2020, something else went down, and I wasn't able to see too many films in theaters after that. But
I've been to the theater to see a film one time since Spider-Man Far From Home. So when was that? Well, that was like January, right? Or February of 2020?
I thought it was more like the summer.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't summer because by the summertime,
or like the end of the spring, like May.
I don't know if it was that late, but it was before the pandemic shut down all theaters.
Well, yeah, it was the year before. It was 19, I would think at least.
Well, no, because it came out after Endgame.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Because it was like the bottle cap on Phase 4.
Right.
So that was the last one I saw in theaters until like 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago when I went and saw Wonder Woman 84 with my mom.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and we were the only ones in the theater.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, everybody's already seen it, I'm sure, with their own opinions.
But we waited till we were vaccinated, before we went and saw it. But I miss going to the theaters for movies. I can't wait to start talking about theater movies with you on this podcast.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I'm off on a tangent again. You were saying about...
I mean, I just love this movie. I mean, I would give it a 9 out of 10. It's not going to be a 10 out of 10 just because of like the anxiety stuff that he was talking about. And it's not like something that I directly identify with, which is another part of the point of my general grading system. But You know, just more I think back on it, the more I enjoy, you know, certain things like our, you know, I enjoy things in a different sense. Like I enjoy, you know, horror movies. I enjoy, you know, when stuffs are really fucked up, or, you know, when tropes are subverted, so on and so forth, you know. So I really enjoy this movie, and I recommend it for sure. If you have Netflix, give it a watch. You know,
watch it with headphones.
yes,
especially if you have any ADHD, if you have trouble picking sounds out of a crowd,
right? Yes,
watch it with headphones with no distractions, because it will be hard to follow.
Yeah.
And be warned. I mean, you're listening to a podcast about the movie, so you obviously don't care about spoilers. But be warned that it's not a breezy watch. It's not a fun watch.
Yeah.
It's impactful.
Yes.
You know, it's well done. It's well produced, but it's not fun, right? And it's not supposed to be. It's not trying to be. It's trying not to be. And I guess in that sense, it succeeds greatly.
Yes, it has.
For me, if I had to rate it like a robot, I would probably give it a 7 or an 8 out of 10. But I can't disentangle how I felt about it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 4 as my official rating out of 10. That's not to say that it's, you know, worse than most other films.
Right.
That's my personal... I found it very difficult to watch this movie, so I can't, with good conscience, rate it highly. Mm-hmm. But no, please, you know, as I've been saying throughout this entire podcast, take with a grain of salt. I will tell you, this is a good movie. It is worth watching once. And the performances are across the board phenomenal. Yeah. It is not easy to watch.
Well,
especially if you already have anxiety.
Right. Thank you for getting to this adventure with me with this film.
Yeah.
You know,
this is fun.
Like I definitely after watching Rounders, I was like, oh, this is definitely reminding me of like Uncut Gems, just basically based on the gambling aspect of, you know, poker and such. And I was like, oh. You know, Edward Norton, he's reminding me of somebody, you know, with his toxic nature. I wonder. Yeah. So,
you know, I can see Edward Norton is Howard is very much Worm who went straight but kept the scumbag up.
Yeah. I
could definitely see that.
Yeah.
But considering we didn't release Rounders to the Rounders podcast to the public, I guess we're going to have to re-review that one later.
Maybe. Or maybe just release it later on down the road. You know, maybe you'll understand what we're talking about at that point in time.
Yeah, because we did a pilot episode of this to see how our banter was. We did the movie Rounders, starring Matt Damon and Ed Norton, which, spoilers, is kind of the mirror of this episode, whereas Keith really likes Uncut Gems, and I really didn't. Rounders is one of my top 3 favorite movies ever, and Keith was kind of meh on it. Yeah. Like he wasn't. I don't think you disliked it.
No, I didn't dislike it, but you know, I didn't like it as much as, you know.
Yeah,
you did, Brian.
It was an incredibly formative movie for me too. But anyway, that's a different topic. Yeah. Definitely give Uncut Gems a watch. If you already suffer from anxiety, you know, be warned. This is a full-on trigger warning. It is not easy to watch. But I've said that a bunch. And I'll agree with everything Keith said about it being a good film. I like the sound. The musical sound design was good for me. The dialogue sound design was not, but that's my hang up. I have trouble differentiating voices in a crowd, right? Yeah. And this movie was all voices in a crowd. Like, there's very few one-on-one dialogue scenes in this movie at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, even the scenes that are supposed to be one-on-one dialogue scenes aren't.
Yeah, like there's always something going on.
There's TV on in the background, or there's people in the shop, or people on the street, or the radio's on, or something. And it's like, to illustrate that point. At one point, coming home from the children's play.
Yes.
Right. No, coming home from Passover.
Okay.
When he stops, he's got the kids and his wife in the car, and he stops at his apartment to ostensibly pick up some stuff. Yeah. Really, it's to see if Julia's still there. Right. She's not there, but she left the radio blaring. Right, like loud enough that you can hear it from the hallway. Yeah. Right, and so he picks up her goodbye note. You know, I hope you find what you're looking for. I really do love you. goodbye, and he reads it out loud. And in any other movie, that would have been a quiet moment where he turns off the radio and then reads the note, and then the scene would have continued on as normal, and it was fine. But they didn't turn off the radio until after he read the note. And so he reads the note with this sappy love song blaring in the background at way too high a volume for my taste. And that's kind of a microcosm of how the whole movie is.
Okay.
Yeah, there's good bits, but you have to pick them out of the bad bits.
Okay.
It's like
the distracting opinion, yeah.
It's like finding opals in the side of a rock wall.
There
Right?
you go.
You got to pick the opals out.
That's a callback.
And they're worth picking out.
Yeah.
But there's all these rocks in the way,
Okay.
and they're still there.
Yeah. All right. I respect that.
Oh.
I respect that analogy.
Pat myself on the back for that one.
There
That was
you
a
go.
good one.
That was good. That was really great. Yeah. Come up with that out of the blue.
But yeah, all in all, I would say that I'm glad I watched this movie.
Okay.
So tune in a couple of weeks. We have not decided what the next movie is going to be. This has been the Doop Movie Podcast, the Democratic Order of Podcasters. I'm Brian.
This is Keith.
And it's been fun having you guys here. Thanks, guys.